U.S. Airways Boeing 737-300, tail number N353US. Today, we're taking a trip down aviation memory lane with a look at a true classic of the U.S. Airways Boeing 737-300, tail number N353US. This aircraft, part of the 737 Classic series, helped define short and medium-haul flights for U.S. Airways. The 737-300 entered service in the mid-80s and became a workhorse for airlines worldwide. Tail number N353US was no exception, flying countless routes across North America. The Boeing 737-300 was built to be both reliable and efficient. Equipped with CFM56 engines, it provided airlines with better fuel efficiency and performance compared to earlier models. The cockpit featured analog gauges mixed with early digital tech, bridging the gap between old-school aviation and modern digital cockpits. Include shots of seats, the cabin layout, and service areas. N353US offered seating for around 140 passengers, designed for comfort on shorter routes. From business travelers to vacationers, it provided a smooth ride, with U.S. Airways' signature service making it a popular choice on routes along the East Coast and beyond. Over its career, this aircraft became part of aviation history, embodying the growth of air travel in the late 20th century. And even though the 737-300 was eventually retired in favor of newer, more advanced models, tail number N353US and its companions left a lasting impact. As we look back on N353US, we remember the legacy of the Boeing 737-300, a true icon in the skies. Thanks for watching this journey through the history of one of U.S. Airways' finest. Don't forget to like, subscribe, and stay tuned for more aviation stories. The Boeing 737-300 typically had seating for around 128 to 149 passengers, depending on the airline's chosen configuration. For U.S. Airways, N353US likely featured a mix of economy and, potentially, business class seats, aimed at providing comfort on short to medium-haul routes. The cabin layout was generally a 3-3 arrangement across the aisle in economy class, maximizing passenger capacity while maintaining an efficient boarding process. If you'd like, I can include these details in the script, focusing on the seating layout and passenger experience on board. U.S. Airways service tickets on the Boeing 737-300 offered travelers a straightforward, no-frills experience typical of domestic flights in the era. Passengers could book economy class tickets, with options to upgrade to business class if available on the route. The ticket price generally included basic amenities like complimentary snacks and non-alcoholic drinks, though meal options were often limited or available for purchase depending on the flight length. The service ticket for flights on tail number N353US would have covered popular U.S. routes, providing an affordable way for passengers to reach destinations across the East Coast, Midwest, and even select Caribbean islands. In the United States, ticket prices for flights on a Boeing 737-300 like U.S. Airways N353US typically ranged from around $150 to $300 for a one-way economy ticket on domestic routes, depending on the season, demand, and route distance. Premium options, such as business class upgrades, if available, would add to the price, often bringing the total to around $400 or more for a round-trip ticket. In the era when N353US was actively flying, ticket prices reflected a mix of budget-friendly and competitive pricing, especially on high-traffic routes. These prices were designed to keep air travel accessible while providing reliable service across U.S. Airways' network. Sure. Here's an expanded look into the ticketing and onboard experience on U.S. Airways Boeing 737-300, specifically tail number N353US, with a focus on pricing, services, and what passengers could expect during its active years. Ticket pricing structure and options. In the 1990s and early 2000s, U.S. Airways ticket prices varied by route, season, and booking method. Here's a rough breakdown. Short domestic flights, for example, NYC to Washington, D.C., Tickets often started at around $100–$150 for economy class one-way, medium-haul domestic flights. For example, Philadelphia to Chicago, priced from about $158–$250 for economy. Longer domestic routes, for example, from East Coast hubs to West Coast cities, prices ranged from $250–$400 for a one-way ticket in economy. Early booking or midweek travel could help passengers secure lower fares. Business travelers, often booking last minute, paid higher rates, sometimes $500 plus round trip, especially if they opted for business class or flexible economy. Ticket classes and upgrade options. Economy class. Most passengers flew in economy, which offered comfortable but straightforward amenities suited to shorter journeys. Seats were arranged in a 3-3 layout, and legroom was typical of that era, around 30–31 inches. Business class. Where available, this class offered slightly larger seats with more legroom, priority boarding, and improved meal options, though it was limited on some shorter flights. Tickets here often doubled the price of economy, especially on popular routes. Onboard services. In-flight meals. For shorter domestic flights, meals weren't typically included in economy. Instead, passengers were served complimentary snacks, such as peanuts, pretzels, or cookies, along with soft drinks, coffee, and tea. For flights over 2 hours, passengers could sometimes purchase light meals like sandwiches or salads. Entertainment. The 737-300 series wasn't equipped with personal seatback screens in economy, as was typical for the era. Instead, passengers often found overhead monitors showing short films or TV episodes. Many travelers brought their own books or magazines for entertainment on board. Business amenities. Business class passengers on longer flights were given improved amenities such as a wider selection of beverages, early access to meals, and priority deboarding. Booking and ticketing process. Booking a ticket for N353's flights during its heyday could be done through various channels, travel agencies and airline counters. This was before widespread online booking, so passengers often booked through travel agents or directly at the airport. Early online booking. By the late 90s, U.S. Airways began offering online booking through their website, allowing passengers to secure flights more conveniently. Frequent Flyer Program. U.S. Airways had the Dividend Miles program, allowing frequent travelers to earn miles redeemable for discounts, upgrades, or free flights. This program made U.S. Airways attractive to business and loyal travelers. Legacy and fare impact. The U.S. Airways Boeing 737-300, including N353s, played a significant role in making air travel affordable and accessible within the U.S. as one of the pioneers of short-haul domestic routes. The 737-300 contributed to a competitive market, pushing ticket prices down for consumers and encouraging more frequent domestic travel. This period in U.S. aviation history marked a shift toward more budget-friendly travel options and laid the groundwork for future pricing models, even as newer aircraft eventually replaced the 737-300. The Boeing 737-300 had a maximum takeoff weight, MTOW, of approximately 139,500 pounds, 63,276 kilograms, though this could vary slightly based on specific configurations or modifications. Here's a breakdown of its weight specs. Empty operating weight, about 70,000 pounds, 31,751 kilograms, and this includes the basic structure, seats, and essential onboard equipment without passengers, fuel, or cargo. Maximum takeoff weight, MTOW, around 139,500 pounds, 63,276 kilograms, at the upper limit for the plane's total weight, including passengers, cargo, and fuel, that it could safely lift off with. Payload capacity, approximately 34,000 pounds, 15,422 kilograms, at the maximum weight of passengers, cargo, and baggage the 737-300 could carry. Fuel capacity, up to about 6,878 gallons, 26,040 liters, adding a significant amount of weight when fully loaded with fuel. These weight capacities allow the 737-300 to operate efficiently on domestic and regional routes, making it versatile for airlines like U.S. Airways and balancing passenger loads and fuel for optimal range.